little bit difficult to know exactly what's happening. It's frankly, it's a little bit difficult to understand what's been happening. Never mind what's going to happen in the future. What happened yesterday is a little bit tricky to understand. Certainly that's the case with what happened on Monday when we were all anticipating Michael Flynn going in. He had a plea deal with the Mueller team. He had given them 19 separate interviews, who knows how many hours of information, which is an extraordinary amount on 3 different investigations. The Mueller prosecutors said, we are satisfied this guy has given us a lot of cooperation. We recommend no jail time, despite the fact that he, had multiple criminal offenses. And then Flynn, and you tell me if I've got this right, if I'm characterizing this correctly. Flynn tries to sort of play some type of double game where he wants to pretend like he didn't really do anything wrong and he's being defiant because he wants to maintain his right-wing celebrity in some fashion. And then goes in and says, yeah, but I'm guilty to the judge, as if he's doing it reluctantly. The judge sort of sees this out there because Flynn has leaked some stuff from ostensibly from the investigation and from the interview that Michael Flynn had. At the beginning of the week, we just heard all sorts of outrage by the right that, like, they took Michael Flynn in there and didn't say, like, don't lie to the FBI. You could get in trouble. And as if, like, they were saying this when it came to regard to like Martha Stewart or anybody else who's ever lied to the FBI or Bill Clinton for that matter. And so the judge says, hey, there's something fishy going on here. I want to read the entire after report of the interview, and I want to see the whole report. I want to know exactly what's going on here. The judge reads it and is like, holy cow, I can't believe this. You did all this stuff? I'm going to send you to jail unless you tell me that you've done something, to mitigate this more than I see here in this report. I mean, have I characterized that correctly?
You have, and it was an astonishing thing. I think, everyone expected, look, they were asking for no jail time. Both sides, the prosecution and the defense, there was no question there that, everybody felt like this was a done deal, that Flynn, and by the way, his sentencing had been postponed numerous times over the past year and some months. So it, wasn't as if the prosecution had just rushed into anything. 19 interviews they had with him. So the assumption was that this was a done deal and Flynn was going to do it. Now, when he stuck this stupid thing into his sentencing memorandum where he said, well, we have to say that it was, we weren't informed, he wasn't informed of his, it was, again, illegal to lie to the FBI. He kind of dug his own grave here because that was not, I think what they thought was, and I get a lot of this from the great Marcy Wheeler, who followed the courtroom of Emmett Sullivan, the judge in this case, for years because he handles a lot of these, national security issues and foreign policy issues and the kind of things that she covers. So she knew who he was. And when they made this, the right was very excited. They had Jeanine Pirro out there saying this is a judge who is, skeptical of prosecution. He's
got
a man
so
of
much integrity. Yes.
So much integrity. He will see this and he will, he is not going to be duped by the government and blah, blah, blah. And he had the Wall Street Journal saying the same sorts of things. I mean, it was astonishing. The great civil libertarians on the right suddenly, extolling the virtues of Emmett Sullivan. But, it is true. That is his reputation. He is a top government skeptic. I mean, he is one of the few in the federal judiciary who really takes that part of his job very seriously. And he will often challenge the prosecution or challenge the Department of Justice, challenge the government, generally speaking, over abuse of power. I mean, this is a normal thing for him to do. But what the right doesn't understand about abuse of power is that when you look at this case, as opposed to your average run-of-the-mill prosecutorial misconduct that you might see, the abuse of power is happening from the defendants in the case.
Right.
And so when Emmett Sullivan went and looked at all this, he is a man of integrity. He does do those challenges. He looked at the evidence and went, oh, my God, we had a national security advisor and possibly a president who grossly abused their power. It's not the prosecutors who caught them that are in error. It's the people who did it. And if the prosecutors made any mistake in this, it was that they let him off too easy. I mean, that was the assumption from the person coming from that, perspective of a person looking at government abuse. He saw it all right, and it was on the part of these people like Michael Flynn and God knows whoever else is mentioned in all those documents that he saw that we haven't seen, that were redacted. And there's even an ex parte submission by the prosecutors that nobody's seen except for him, that, and he came out swinging. He was astonished. He said, it looks like you sold out the country. He brought up the treason word. I mean, it was really something. And coming from this guy, yes, he's an ego. He's a federal judge. They all are. So there's that. But he's a very
sober. Yeah, he's a very sober guy. All right. Well, listen, we just got about a minute left here. So, and we should be clear about this aspect of it. That judge is the only person, as far as we know, who has seen at least, one full sort of like narrative through line, right? Like, this is like, the A line or the B line of this story. And he has seen he has seen one full through narrative line. There may be multiple others, and I think there are. And he's the only one who's seen it outside of the Mueller investigation, or at least he's the only one who's been able to even like reflect on it publicly. And he was shocked. Right. He was shocked, right? Like he was just saying, like you got to go. I don't know what you can do to mitigate this, but you need to go away, figure out what that is, or I'm going to send you to jail today. Yeah. And like, it's only because you were a general and you had 33 years that I'm giving you this opportunity to figure out something. And he was like, I don't know what it's going to be, but you better figure out something because I'm going to send you to jail. All right. Well, listen, we need to take a quick break. Heather, if you'll join me in the final hour, let's talk about this and the question, are we pulling out of Syria? I'm Sam Seder. This is Ring of Fire Radio.